This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. This episode of PTG is brought to you by HK Army and all of my paintball teams out there. It is time to take your game to the next level. Get laced up for the 2025 season with the HK Army sponsorship package, your ultimate gateway to custom gear, elite equipment, and unparalleled exposure. Stand out on the field with custom designed jerseys and gear featuring your team's branding alongside the iconic HK Army logo. Your team's style with our innovation. Boost your brand's exposure and get featured across HK Army's massive social platforms, reaching millions of fans worldwide. Be a part of the conversation in the paintball community with HK Army. Get access to the elite gear, high-performance markers, cutting-edge protection, paintballs, and the latest technology to help your team dominate the competition. Join a vibrant community of top-tier teams and players. Connect, share experiences, and participate in exclusive HK Army events. This is more than a sponsorship. It is truly a family. Don't wait. Sign up your team right now at hkarmy.com/sponsorship and gear up for the 2025 paintball season. HK Army, lace up, stand out, dominate. Go to hkarmy.com/sponsorship to get your team signed up right now.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning back in with us. We are less than a week away from the first event of the NXL season out there in Tampa, and we have none other than Travis Lemanski, owner and coach of Infamous, one of the greatest OGs in the game, owner of Pro DNA, very popular paintball brand, and just an incredible human. We've been wanting to get Travis on for a very long time. We finally got to sneak him in. He is at the house in Tampa with his squad, so he was a little distracted, but still amazing to have the legend on. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Welcome, PTG Nation. Episode 291. Get ready today. We've got a true paintball legend in the house, Travis Lemanski, from dominating the pro field. I've watched you dominate in so many events. You know, big inspiration to a lot of the current pros that are playing today, to building one of the most iconic teams and brands in the game. Your impact is undeniable, and we're diving into your history, the hustle, the future of paintball, and one of the sport's greats. Buckle up. Let's go. Play the game. What's up, Travis?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What up, dude?
Not much. We made it happen. I feel like we've been trying to get you on the show for a long, long time. You're like,
I know,
the elusive unicorn.
I'm like, yo, this time I want to do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, for anybody that doesn't know, Travis also played professional paintball at the highest level for a very long time before the new iteration of, you know, taking over the franchise, coaching, and being spearheading the movement for Infamous.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
been in the game a long time. Still love it. Still gonna be in the game in whatever way I can. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but it's cool. It's rewarding.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And you're out in Florida right now, training with the squad. You guys actually just got back from practice. So let us know what's been going on. You guys are out at Tiki's, I think.
Yeah. So the boys and us, we just got back. Maybe like literally 5 minutes ago. I walked in the door. I threw a fresh T-shirt on and walked in. But it was today we played Russians for a few hours. The last few days we played a couple different pro teams, Arsenal, aka Revo, and Sea Dogs actually were out on our field, and then up on the other field they had it was like a mini NXL event. They had Dynasty and NYX and Aftershock, and I mean there was a lot of teams.
Nice.
There's probably like 8 pro teams there.
Amazing.
Yeah, love that. Tiki's is a great field too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So what's your favorite game plan on this field, Travis?
I was gonna ask you guys the same thing. I mean,
for the viewers, we will be playing Infamous at the first event. We drew each other in the bracket, so won't be revealing too many secrets. But no, I know we're all excited to get the season going. Feels like it was actually a quick off season, is what it felt like for me. But very excited to get the new year underway, and know that you guys are too. You guys made some changes. How's the team looking? How you guys feeling?
Team's looking good. Obviously, anytime you bolt on new guys, like as you know, there's that you have to rebuild that chemistry, and people have to sort of learn those little things like the inflection in someone's voice when something's really serious. You know what I mean? So so it's just a little teamwork stuff, and we've been doing a little team bonding. Marcel, you've been on Infamous a little bit. We have some good times at night, and then we go out and try to translate that onto the field. So, but it's been a good practice. So lots of hard work and I think this will be a fun layout.
You guys find the Buffalo Wild Wings?
Dude, Hooters.
Hooters. I thought they were out of business.
That's what they're saying. I hope they don't go out of business. No,
okay.
You know the one in Lakeland right there? At
the end of. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Yeah, we hit the Hooters, the Ford's Garage, the little dart bar over on over Linksters or whatever. Yeah, so it's been sweet.
Yeah, man, and there's been a ton of changes in the league. Obviously, we're all aware that pretty much every league every team besides a few in the league had some changes to the roster. So what's your take on everything? Obviously, you got to see quite a few of the new squads and new teams that are playing out there at Tiki's.
Yeah, so I would say, for us, we have a couple of ex-Impact members, Rob and Trevor, both super calm, cool, collected dudes that kind of have that like little veteran edge that we were looking to bolt on, something that like could take you a little deeper into Sunday. And then obviously everybody knows Zach Geiger. He's just like a wrecking ball. So yeah, he's a nice addition on these these fast layout type fields. So. Just mixing those guys into mesh with the current squad dudes, it's been cool. As far as other teams we saw out there, I think I didn't see a ton of like I saw Russians and Tauntauns play. I mean, that could be like kind of a wild scenario because now that Tauntauns are FSU or whatever. So but they look
how is that scrimmage to watch?
I mean, it's wild. You know how like that whole Russian philosophy of they're just going to play more points than you, and they think they're going to get, they're going to come out on top even if they lose some. And so, they're just flying, and it's kind of like, shoot me, okay, great. Next, you got to shoot me again. You know what I mean? Like they're just going to keep coming. So, pretty wild. So that was interesting. And then, I mean, obviously, like our games with Arsenal. I think Arsenal's going to surprise a lot of teams this year. They're pretty good, man. They got a deep roster, and they seem focused and pretty with it. So
I saw a pic of the squad, and I was looking at the roster, and I was like, that's a potent lineup right there. There's some solid players, and that's the cool thing about pro paintball right now is it is just deep. Every roster is deep. The squads are coming together. They're playing good paintball, and it's an exciting time for pro paintball right now.
Yeah, totally agree. I think this is going to be a great season. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the just this event in general. I mean, the weather is like perfect already, so it's just like let's go.
Yeah, we're back at Tampa at the Raymond James Stadium, and it looks beautiful. I saw some pictures, and it is right there, smack dab in the background. You got a nice backdrop for some cool photos out there.
Yeah. When you guys land, it's gonna be like right there. It's like 5 minutes. So.
Oh no, it's sick.
Dude,
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So it's right there. But yeah, man. So we just been grinding for the past week. We only had I think we had one kind of preseason practice, but besides that, we're kind of throwing it all into this kind of Hell Week atmosphere.
Yeah, I think I was out there for that one. It was in January in Florida also, right? At Legacy.
Yeah, that's right. You were there, yeah.
Yeah, it was like 4 teams out there. Nice. No, I love that style of getting together the week before the event and just kind of staying through. It seems like a lot of teams did that for the Florida event for this first one.
Yeah, we started doing it back because like we saw like what Heat was doing, and we saw what some of these other teams that maybe had like foreign like international guys that they're just flying in one time, but then they stay through, and it kind of works for us because instead of flying back and forth 3 different times, once you land, you're kind of locked in for the event. So
Totally.
for us it seems to be good. It's a solid focus for like 12 days.
Yeah,
100%.
just locked in for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way that you can train, because then you could do it almost every day, but you don't have to do 8-hour days, just a couple hours a day, and you go back at night, you kind of process it, you're with the team, you're not distracted.
Right.
When you fly back, you kind of like clock out a little bit. It takes a lot to stay focused. So
yeah, because everyone has their home life, right? So you get a little in some way you're distracted, you kind of turn it off, but when you're with the group, there's not like 1 second where you're not like, okay, dude, I could have done this better. Hey man, maybe we should talk about, the way we do this. It's like, there's always like a conversation of something on the way out.
Yeah.
So
unless you're ordering wings at Hooters, that might be a little bit of a distraction there, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like if they would just advertise the Daytona style, then they would not be out of business. I feel like that is the best they have. So
The Daytona style.
Shout out
gotta go
Daytona
get those,
wings.
give those a shot.
Yep.
Everybody goes there for the wings, obviously.
Right. I mean, that's why I'm there.
I love it.
Oh,
I love
hilarious.
it. Trav, we have a lot to talk about. I know we don't have a ton of time. I know you guys are busy, but let's kind of dive in a little bit to your, early part of your career, since we've never had you on the show. You're such a legend in the game, total icon, and have built this amazing brand. But let's kind of go back to the start. How did you get into paintball? And, kind of walk us through how you transcended up the ladder.
We don't have this long of a show, but so honestly, I started playing paintball. This sounds crazy, but because I'm going to be 50 here shortly. But I think I was like in 2nd grade, dude. Like when there was
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was like one of the original like weird pump guns were happening, and it was like some kids in my neighborhood had like played paintball. I'd never heard of it, and they were doing it in the backyard, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And so obviously it's like army and tag and guns all in the same thing, and I was instantly hooked. And then as the sport grew, or as the you're playing recreational, and then at some point you're going to be like, oh, I'm into tournaments, and then from then on out, it just kept growing. And I came up, and when I like started, there was only like amateur or pro. So it was like, all right. And then so obviously our goal was to be pro, and we didn't even really know what that meant. We just wanted to be the best, so we just kept playing. A lot of my boys are still like, we still play 10 men together. So you'll see LB or Andy, it's a lot of the same like old faces or guys that I grew up with in Michigan. But so we eventually did turn pro, and we had a team, Detroit Fusion, and then we sort of ran out of money because we're just all broke college kids at that point. And then you kind of get picked apart, and you go to different pro teams, and we ended up on Image for a while, and then Avalanche, and then then there was like the whole NXL. And
But how did you guys get so good, like out of that hub of Michigan? How did the skill grow, and who were you training against or with, and who was like?
Yeah, we were the most obsessed players you would imagine. Like we just played. We never missed weekends. We played during the week. Like we were just ultra obsessed. So we played constantly, and then when we got so good that our local competition wasn't anything, and we play each other too, but we started driving. Like we would literally go out on Friday night, and as like buddies, and we wouldn't go to sleep. We would just drive through the night after going out, and we'd go to Chicago, and we'd play Aftershock on no sleep on Saturday and Sunday, and then drive home, and we just do it all over again every week. So once we like needed more competition, we would just drive to the competition.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah.
That was it.
That's the way it was back then, man, is, kind of lawless, and you were just doing it with your friends. And I mean, I think we all have some of those stories of no sleep and going out and partying. And as you mentioned, I had, spent some of my early career with Infamous. We definitely had a good time. really good time. Soy was on the squad back then. That was a wild ride for sure. But it's like, you know, there is something to that. There is an element of bonding that plays into how you compete with each other on the field, you know? And so that's something that like the, you know, players that Tyler and myself looked up to growing up, you know, you being one of them, you guys all had that figured out, you know, like team camaraderie and the chemistry was like, you guys were masters of it. Right. And it was all the things that you guys did together, you know?
Yeah.
And then
it was a different era. So, and someone that we talked about this, and like we have like a little pool in the back of the house here. So like everybody's like sitting in the pool last night, and they're sharing all these like, you know, war stories from the weekend, and like I don't know, somehow it comes up like, you know, what was it like back when, you know, you were playing and this and that, and we started talking about you know, like it wasn't as physically demanding, right? So you were playing, you know, 7-on-7, but it was like one match. So it was like a little more technical in the fact that like you couldn't drop that game or it was over.
Yeah.
But you weren't playing 50 points. You know what I mean? So so you could go out and enjoy yourself the night before and then just go out there and execute the next day. It was a lot different. And I think it's also like you know, back then there was players parties and things like that. And now you can't do it. And because you're like, we have to compete. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't be foggy or anything. So,
but there was no fog. Y'all were competing at the highest level. And like, I don't care if y'all had an edge on you or whatever you want to call it the next morning, but it didn't look like it. Cause I don't know if it was just pouring out of the, you know, pores and stuff and, you know, reigniting the flames, but you guys were going crazy out there. So some of the most exciting paintball you'll ever watch is some good old fashioned 7-man, 10-man, you know, all these iconic platforms that used to be the pinnacle of the sport.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like I still like to play the whole 10-man thing because I think it's just like, you know, paintball chess in a way, but it's you know, and I still get to, you know, I get out to go see my old homies, and half the like pro 10-man league is like old school dudes, so it's
the OGs.
It's great.
Yeah, and everybody's loving it. It's been blowing up. It's been doing really well.
Yep. So
yeah, I think it's important that we continue to offer these variations of play too, because you know, I didn't fall in love with paintball in the format that we play right now. You know, I fell in love with paintball in the woods. I fell in love with paintball as like that cops and robbers, or as you said, like military tag type thing. And it did evolve into this. And I don't prefer woods ball over, you know, the tournament format that we play now, but it's an interesting, you know, idea to understand. Like, I think we need to be mindful of that, you know, and understand how important it is for that stage of a player's, you know, evolution. And that's kind of where we hook players, is in the woods or on the concept fields, just with your buddies. Yeah, you know, I don't know many people that did fall in love with just airball.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Like, I try to be conscious of that too, because that is such a, like, I feel like there's so many, you know, little guys, you know, that are just like, they like, you know, army or whatever, and tag and that whole thing. And then this sport is like the most epic version of that. So
that's right. I almost think we need to have like a rec ball championship as well. Like the same way that we highlight the pro 5-man, the 10 V10 woods ball, we should have like rec ball teams out there duking it out for world championships as well. Because if we're talking about a funnel for the sport, the ultimate funnel for paintball is the recreational aspect of it. And if we can get hundreds of thousands, millions of people playing recreational paintball and having fun, bringing the whole family out, that's the funnel that we can build that's massive. And then obviously a certain percentage of those people are going to want to say, I'm ready to take this to the next level. I want to play tournaments. We want to get our group together. But if we don't have that big funnel to build that out, we might be missing out on a ton of, you know, players that wouldn't have gotten involved otherwise. So maybe, you know, in the future, we have the rec championships as well, where you have your best rec team, and, you know, whether it's 20 or 30 or whatever, 30v30 and like big games, super big games.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'll sponsor it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, with Pro DNA, that's definitely something I want to talk about, because you guys have kind of set the standard for being a team that is able to support themselves and be able to brand themselves and be self-sufficient. You guys in Dynasty, right, are the two that have really done a good job with that. And, I think you could easily make the argument that you guys are the leader. You guys actually do create and have a lot of your own product. How have you steered that ship, and like, what was the, spawn of that?
Okay, so this is easy. So basically, when I was playing pro, you get to a certain level where you're going through school, whether you're in high school or college or whatever. But at some point, you have to make a choice. Like, am I going to continue to play pro paintball? How am I going to make a living? Why am I going to college, or whatever? What am I doing? You know what I mean? And so at that point, I was in college, and I was like, okay. I was asking my professors, hey, can I like take my tests early because I'm going to be in France playing paintball next week? And they're like, whoa, what's going on with this? So they were kind of cool with it, but that's when I figured it out. I was like, I'm not going to make a living playing paintball, so I have to somehow work in the industry to make a living. And then I can still continue to play, at a high level and not, have to just go work in a cubicle or whatever. So I got a job in paintball. I actually worked for JT, and then from JT Empire, and then through all the different brands. So the reality is I'm playing pro, I'm working and helping these other companies build their brands and build products and do all this other stuff. And then when it was time, for my paintball industry job to discontinue, I was like, okay, so I can, now I can go work in a cubicle, or I can give back to the sport that I love. And honestly, when I started designing, products for Infamous, it was literally to support the team of Infamous and just the brand. I was like, if we can just make enough money to like pay for a pro team and just get, that was really my goal. But then it just started to kind of snowball, and one product leads to another, and then it's like, it just seems to be like it's a whole thing, right? You're just like, oh my God, we have all these products now and people like them, and it's like, but you also realize like your team is kind of your marketing arm, and then they're also your R&D. So you are making the best stuff because these guys are, putting it through all the paces, and they're beating it up, and we're making little tweaks. And so, so that was easy.
Yeah, solid. And you guys do make some excellent product, gotta say. I've obviously been sponsored by you guys in the past, always had a great relationship with the brand. And you're right, when you have top pro players that can test your stuff, that is the best, form of R&D. So, not every company does have that at their disposal. These guys are actually competing with it day in and day out. Sometimes if you give, equipment to, just a regular weekend warrior, they're not going to give you the same kind of feedback. They're like, yeah, this worked great. What do you mean? Like, there was no issues. I didn't notice that this didn't work, or that was a little stiff, or, they just don't have that experience to be able to give you the proper feedback. So yeah,
your pro players, they're going to tell you exactly, or they're not going to use it. And you're like, oh, that's the worst. So
totally.
Yeah. So you're getting honest opinions for sure.
And Infamous was birthed out of Avalanche, right? I mean, after Avalanche, it kind of like that same, I feel like that same energy, that gusto is in the brand.
Yeah. So Avalanche had the same like rock star dudes. I'm still like, I literally was on the phone with Roque. I'm like, I got to go get on this podcast. Like just before, we just hung up with Roque. But anyways, so I'm still friends with all of, I was with Lasoya at the field today. Like I'm still, we're still like that core. I text with LB and Posey and all these same dudes. But what happened was when the NXL started, like the original, not the one you guys know today, but when they did the TV version, that was like
03.
Right. They made those like teams, and then you couldn't play 7-man. It was like you had to be locked in because you were supposedly signing TV deals. We turned Avalanche into Miami Effect, and so that was like 90% of the same guys, and then and then Miami Effect kind of broke the picket lines and joined the Super 7, and then we got thrown out of both leagues, and it was a whole thing. But that's where Infamous, the name, started. But it was all again the same dudes. So,
but that was the workaround, right? You guys were like, okay, well, technically it's two different teams, so we've got Miami Effect in the NXL and Infamous over here.
Yeah,
Oh
but I
man,
mean,
dude.
and those were wild days. But then they were like,
Yeah.
okay, you can't be in the NXL anymore, and we were like, okay. So then we went and played in the first division, which was Russian Legion,
Crazy. Yeah.
Dynasty, and Excessive, and it just ended up being everyone's over there watching the show. So I was like, oh man, we made the right decision. So
Yeah. Those were some just timeless, iconic moments in paintball.
yeah. So little wild history, but that was definitely like pioneer days.
Yeah. And speaking of, rock stars, you guys had one of the most rock star lineups of all time with Avalanche. Talk to us about what that was like playing for that team. It's something that is hard to duplicate. It's unduplicatable. The people there were just the most original characters and the most badass people you could ever have in a team.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't
No.
exist.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was wild. I mean, even when I first got on that team, I was like, okay, like Ed did such a good job of marketing the guys and just kind of handpicking dudes that he was like, this guy will work. But that doesn't always work when you put superstars together. You just never know.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, it did work on that team, and it was great. I mean, we had just like we're now like lifelong friends, that whole group. So,
Yeah. Ed
but
saw the vision.
he did, and he did a good job. He's like, I'll give you guys everything you need to win. You know what I mean? You just got to go do it. And we were like, okay.
Hmm. What do you think was one of the like contributing factors that made that click, that whole thing work?
I do think, I mean, obviously the team was ultra talented, but I think that group also was a little like selfless in the fact that guys would sort of just fall into the like, you might be like some super badass front guy or whatever, but hey, we need a back guy, so maybe you slide into that spot, or vice
Mhm.
versa. And like guys were just very like fluid in the team dynamic, so guys just filled in on what was needed, and that they just wanted to be there because it was so fun that it wasn't a big deal. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so important. See, I love to hear you express that, Travis, honestly, because it's an issue that you see a lot of these top teams have, where you put together a superstar lineup, and if everybody wants to be the guy, it just doesn't work. You have to have roles. You have to have, I even see it in the semi-pro division. You'll have semi-pro teams where like ultra talented kids, players, and they have a tough time playing together. I think that's why Leverage had such good success. They're all very selfless. They kind of embody a little bit of do you know who Leverage is?
I mean, I maybe know
Kind of
like
heard of them.
Caputo. Yeah, I know a couple
Okay,
of them,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
but yeah,
So
not the full team.
they're the new pro squad. Shit, they're in our bracket too, actually. But they
Mhm.
kind of embody a little bit of that like early infamous, swagger. Just a bunch of friends. They're all super talented. Have fun with the game. They have like that style as well, if you know what I mean. Like Infamous always had like a style. They were a very stylistic team.
Oh my God. I just saw this picture of Gator eating a watermelon, this old picture of Gator eating a watermelon. And I was like, God, those guys are the best. That whole crew is just top tier.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We didn't know what we were doing, man. It was just kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah. What were the practices like back then? Like, what were you guys doing? Drills? Were you guys going to Hooters? Were you going to
all of the above. Yes. I mean, basically, we took our paintball. I mean, of course, at that age, you're partying pretty serious because you're in college or you're whatever. But it's like
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
took our paintball also just as serious. So I feel like as long as you don't lose focus on that and you don't let the nightlife or whatever interfere too much with that, I mean, I think you're on the right track. But we were so ultra dedicated to paintball. We literally, that's all we really think about and thought about. It was just paintball this and paintball that, and when's the next time we're going to get together and play, and what are we doing Wednesday nights and Thursday night drills and this and that. And so it was that's really all it was. I mean, you're gonna have the parties and the nightlifes. And I used to always like, even like up until recently, even when we have hell weeks, I would always take one night and just take the team out and just get it out of their system, like a week before the event. Now, that
Yeah.
way it's like, guys aren't tempted to do something stupid on a event night.
For sure. Yeah. Speaking of like
Team bonding.
Yeah, team bonding, team building. You've built Infamous into a very consistent platform that we can always count on to bring great games, and then obviously the business aspect as well, creating great products. What do you look for in players when you're assembling your squads, or for players out there with coaches that are looking for certain attributes for players to come onto the squad? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I know what I have. I don't miss a single game or practice point or anything, right? So I see every single second of what we're doing. So I do know what our needs are. So I try to address those when I'm looking at players, but also like it is a big culture thing for me. So, there's just some guys that just we don't take. Maybe they're ultra talented, but they're just that attitude doesn't work with us. So, that's sort of what I'm looking for. And then in terms of like how we build with what we can. So we're kind of one of those teams that can take it to a certain level, and then inevitably we don't have this like giant salary to pay all these dudes. So like we will get guys picked apart. So we almost have to have that like next man out kind of mentality that everyone talks about. But it's true. Like you got to have a little deeper roster because maybe you're getting picked apart. But if I can keep a group together like I have, the past year or two, and then bolt on some pizzas, I think that's what we're going to be pretty dangerous is this next 12 months. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What was your favorite era with Infamous? What do you think was the best version of the team?
I mean, it's hard to beat like our first few seasons when we left NXL and joined the 7-man league because we were Avalanche already was like this incredible 7-man team back in like going to Europe and playing all this. And when we joined, when we were allowed to play, the Super 7, it's not that it was easy, but we were really good at it and we're having fun. And so like, obviously winning is fun and it's a whole thing, but there was a handful of years there where, the paintball was just epic and whatever, but it's fine. Like every team does this, right? You go through these cycles where you're, on the top and then you have to work back up and you're on the top and then you have to work back up, but that's what makes it fun.
That's what
That
it's all
is the
about.
fun part. Yeah, 100%. That is the fun part. Climbing the mountain,
Right.
Did you guys ever play Europe together? I don't know if you guys did.
Well, as Avalanche, yes.
Okay.
We like won the series. We like won them all, like every single one of them in a row.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it was epic. And then,
So you guys did that before Dynasty did that.
yeah. I think we were the first team to win all the millenniums. So we did the campaign and Toulouse and Stockholm and I don't know, there was like 4 or 5 of them, but yeah, it was sweet.
Oh man, at that time it must have been crazy. So much fun.
Yeah, no cell phones over there.
That's right. I know that's 20 years ago. The paintball culture was just booming too. It was pretty wild how big paintball was in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was an accessible sport, but it was kind of it was considered a little edgy. So I don't know, it had this like cool factor, just like skate and all this other stuff. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it was bigger than it is now?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
I think
Maybe
there's data that supports that too.
Yeah, and I
think
think
there was.
yeah, but I think okay, so maybe not the sport of paintball like you're thinking, Marcelo, but like the actual like industry, of course, was much bigger, and I think you had a lot more fields and a lot more like it wasn't as frowned upon. Like the gun culture thing got a little weird, I think, overall in the industry, where maybe mom didn't want to take little Joey to like shoot guns at his friends when there's school shootings or there's sensitive topics in pop culture. So
Whoa, we lost you.
that's someone.
There we go. We got you back.
Yeah, and there is obviously a huge misconception still to this very day about what paintball is and what this sport embodies. It's one of the greatest sports you'll ever play, greatest communities, most friendly people that'll look out for you for life. Like you talk about these lifelong relationships through this sport, because the culture is it's like subterranean, you know, not a lot of people know that it even exists. So if you're a part of it, it's an amazing sport to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do think that that's probably the number one thing is getting past the stigma of the gun part of it, because that's probably why most like mainstream, the Cokes and Pepsis of the world are probably like, maybe big core, type sponsors maybe aren't interested in that.
Yeah,
It only takes one of them, though. It only
Yeah.
takes one.
I know. I'm not being down on it. I'm just thinking that
No,
that's
I
kind
feel
of
like we're further past that than we ever have been in the past. I mean, you look at video games these days. I mean, these games are gory,
Yeah.
and they have massive sponsors, Parents don't mind letting their kids play these video games hours on end. I don't know. I feel like that is not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I hope so. Hopefully we're working in the right direction.
Hopefully. It feels that way. It definitely feels that way, at least. And, I've obviously loved what the NXL has done. It seems like each year they're adding something that's pretty exciting and meaningful in the pursuit of making this feel like a real profession. I know they're trying to do a much better job this year with the show, which I think most people confuse the two. Go Sports and NXL are not one entity, so it's two separate businesses. But I do think they're trying to do some pretty exciting stuff and tell really good stories this year. And I mean, ultimately, that is what we need. We need to do a better job of telling stories and explaining to people what we do, because we all love it for a reason. So let's just do a good job of showing that. We don't need to change the format and add buzzers and do all the crazy stuff. Let's exactly. Like, our game's amazing. We can make small tweaks here and there. Actually, Travis, I would love to hear what you think of the idea I've floated. I don't know if you listened to the show ever, but I've floated this idea, over the last year and a half. But I believe a interesting way to speed up the game and kind of create some excitement would be if a team scores a point within under a minute, it's worth 2 points, right? And I played around at the time when I first floated the idea. I said 30 seconds, and I was like, no, why not just make it like kind of a frequent thing? So it's like maybe it's 2-0 and then 2-2 and then 4-2 and then 5-2 and then 5-4. And then at the end of a match, it could be like 7-3, but the game's not over if there's a couple minutes left. It keeps people, pretty engaged.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of that idea?
No, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Obviously, like, the rewarding, the more aggressive play is way more exciting for the audience. So
yeah,
I think that's a huge thing. And I think that's why people have always try to figure out where the focal point should be, like a buzzer in the middle, or
Sure.
what are guys attacking. So, but yeah, I like the timing thing. That's cool.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
I like it because it doesn't change how we play the game too much. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it might speed up your pace, or you come up with some, a little more aggressive game plans, but it doesn't change the foundation of how we play paintball.
Right. Yeah, because it's weird how many different formats I've played since I started competing at pro level. It's been like it's chaos. So
It is, but I would argue even like in the woods. I mean, I guess that doesn't quite count, because you do have like different flags and different things that equal certain points, and the scoring is entirely different. I just, on the airball fields, the buzzer thing, I'm like, no, please don't do this where there's buzzers across the 50 and like the whole goal is to race there, and how are you gonna ref that? It's I don't know. It becomes a gimmicky game. If you ask me. And I think our game is so deep, it has so many layers, so many nuances. It's, phenomenal the way it is. So I just really want us to try to find ways to showcase what we're doing better.
Yeah, no, I think a step in the right direction was making the brighter shells too. I think that the shells we paint out, because
we fought for that for a year, a long time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that like they should go one step further and do like the color of a tennis ball, and that's the reason why tennis uses it. It's like because
I agree. I know it should be like neon green, not pink. Why do we have pink? You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why we have pink. It
I
should
think
be the neon green.
idea was right, but just they didn't get
I
the
know.
correct color. But anyways, yeah, I do think that that's cool because it's cool on film too.
Yeah, they said that they, you know, that pink color is what picks up on camera the best, and so that's why they went with it. But I'm like, I don't even care. Like, what is it, like 1% better than the neon green? I don't know. The neon green is way cooler. We want neon green, you know, like neon green is, you know, it's relatable to other sports.
Yeah,
You guys would have to change your jerseys.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll go back to yellow.
The yellow infamous era was definitely the iconic era for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the picture with Gator was with him and the orange one, the orange infamous jerseys.
Oh, yeah, we had a weird like orange era. It was like a handful of years, and I think it was because they were forcing us to like not use yellow. So we were like,
yeah,
let's rebrand as orange, but then that didn't last. So
I was on the team for both those years. So I had the yellow jersey and the orange. And honestly, Travis, it's funny. I thought I forgot them, and I just found an old gear bag, an old Sly gear bag that was stuffed full of jerseys. I found my old infamous jersey and Alex Savino and Zach Wake.
oh,
No
wow.
way.
Yeah, I've got all the jerseys. I was like, man, these are gems. Pretty disgusting. They weren't washed. So they've been sitting for about 12 years.
Oh, dry clean.
Just like they
about 12 years. That's crazy. Yeah, not washed in a gear bag, but they're washed now. They're clean.
No, you should have. Yeah, you got to keep them as the relics. Trav, you've seen paintball go through many different format changes and just changes overall from gear, you know, playing styles. What do you think has been one of the biggest shifts in pro paintball? And then I got another question after that
one. In terms of like the gear, do you mean like
just the game overall, like pro paintball as it's progressed?
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but when we used to play 10-on-10 or 7-on-7, you got like one match, you know, against Dynasty or one match against Excessive or whoever the team you were playing. So every body, every like little point counted a lot more in a match, and maybe you didn't take these big of risks, or maybe you took one big risk and you still had 6 bodies to fight it off or whatever, you know what I mean? So like that's the biggest change in the style. Like I think things, obviously people have, the way people practice and the way people play now is way more athletic and way different in that aspect. But I do think like mentally things maybe were a little more technical back then in terms of like zone coverage and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you had to walk a ton of fields. There would be, you know, 7 or 10 fields that you would be walking all day.
True. Yeah. So a lot of times you would have to like show up the day before, walk a million fields, and hopefully you remembered everything because you didn't have like these big, you know, like practice weekends where you could just memorize and drill and do everything else. So, you know, and that, obviously it left a little bit to like, you know, more skill, I think, in terms of like creativity. So not skill as like a gunfighter, but more like creative people did more creative things.
That's why a lot of the players from the eras we're talking about are still successful in regards to being at the helm of a team or helping an organization look at how to approach fields and how to build team chemistry and all these super important things to be successful. Because you're right, you have to be able to step onto that and immediately know the cadence of the way this is going to go or how we're going to approach attacking the, you know, this particular layout.
Yeah. And if guys could, you know, if guys have an opportunity to, you know, play the field 100 times and drill it and lock it down, you know, you might have never seen like a creative Oliver run through move or a Lasoya, you know, move because, you know, those zones have been covered, but, you know, someone got caught slipping and, you know, that superstar was born. So
they just picked it up quicker. Yeah. They were able to see it before everybody else.
Yeah. So that's what I would say is the biggest difference, I guess, is in that element.
And if you could change any rule or format or anything
That's
to the
it.
game,
He would go to blind layout.
That's
This
what
guy.
we're talking about, Marcelo.
Oh man,
That's why you haven't
Goodness
had me on
gracious.
here, because you didn't want to go to blind layouts. And I'm here to convince the world it's blind layout time.
Oh man,
Boom.
see, I would make the argument that the more time you have on the field, the more like creative players, they separate, they find these creative moves, they understand how it's going to get locked down, and then they take it a step further. Whereas when you don't, you're guessing. So I think you're taking skill out of it by going to blind layouts. You know, I
No,
understand.
no.
Yeah. You guys just want to spend the week at Buffalo Wild Wings, Top Golf, and and then just go in blind and beat everybody up. You guys want to be bullies. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
No, you don't want to practice and you want to win.
No, the most creative dudes were always the most creative dudes. The Richie Maumaus, the Lasoyas, the Olivers, they consistently pulled off these incredible moves and all that creative stuff. So I don't know. I think there's something to figuring it out. And we had a little taste of it in Atlantic City last year, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was cool, and obviously I've been very vocal about not liking blind layouts. I think it's really unique about our sport that you get this layout. It's like this puzzle, right? And when you go to the tournament and you have the show, you're kind of explaining that these teams have been practicing for the last couple of weeks on this field, and they're coming to this event with their best strategy. But I will admit, when they did the minor events and it was blind layout, watching the webcast and seeing it from that perspective, it was kind of cool, that narrative as well. Like, these teams are seeing this for the first time right now, and how it evolves throughout the weekend. And that was also a cool narrative. So it kind of made me, hate it a little less, but yeah. I do definitely stand by. I love, again, it gives you something more to practice. To me, it adds skill. It adds rather than takes away from. So I do prefer the layout, but there was a little victory for blind layouts there. I wouldn't mind if we did like one event a year blind layout,
All right, I'll take it. I will take that. And I'm calling.
That's
Tom
a big
Cole right
win.
now. Yes.
That's a big win.
Calling Tom Cole right now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
No,
Did I say that on
I
the
think
show?
it is the
Is that
evolution.
public?
Yeah.
Is that public?
Yes.
Yeah.
Call
That's the first time. I mean, this is history right here. It's been almost 300 episodes. This is happening. It's crazy.
Yeah, you guys have been big advocates for the blind layout. Do you have any other?
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say. I just think, like, even doing the layout weekends or whatever, I think even more than the events, I've said this like for the past like year or so, that I love the practice weekend more than the event. And it's because of that evolution. Like the stuff that's happening on day 1 versus day 2 versus day 3, it's pretty sweet. So
yeah. So you love layouts.
Blind ones, because we didn't really know until we started playing them.
So you just want that to happen at the tournament.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got you. But then the weekend before wouldn't be that fun, because the layout you're learning is meaningless. So now your practice would be boring and you would be frustrated and the team would not bond. You wouldn't have good chemistry. It would, be a disaster.
You didn't like that weekend we just had in Orlando a couple weeks ago? We had a great blind layout.
We did.
Practice.
That was a lot of fun. It was great. Yeah, for sure.
That was out at
Legacy
Field. Yeah,
Legacy. Yeah, he's doing a great job with that place. He's really revived. That whole park. They just put it in a turf field too. So
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, Trav. So what other kind of changes should we make? Again, being in your position, you've been around for ever, and what do we got to do? Are we close?
It's got to be 10 on 10 blind layouts. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Okay.
Imagine how much fun that would be to have our whole squads go heads up. That'd be crazy.
See? It would be war.
Yeah. It would be 100%.
war.
We at the
Big
testing
fields.
at the testing format a couple weeks ago in Texas, we did 7-on-7 on the current size.
Yeah.
Field, and it was chaos. It was like, what's hilarious, Travis, you wouldn't believe it. Not a single person got shot off the break for either team. And then it was just a stagnant 7-on, because there was nothing to do, every single zone was covered, but it was fun. It was oddly fun, because you're there's so many teammates to talk to, and having these conversations, and it was oddly fun.
Yeah, no, I know. And it's there is a little learning curve too. Like you shoot 2 on the break. Normally you're like
Yeah.
flying down a side. Nope. There's still 5 guns covering zones. So yeah,
Totally.
it's different for sure.
Yeah.
You know what's really impressive is the way that 10v10, because in 5v5, the best players in the world are thinking about 10 players, right? You're thinking about your team, thinking about what's going on in their team. In the height of pro paintball, when 10v10 was at the pinnacle, super competitive at the top as well, the best players in the world were thinking about 20 different things that are going on out there, which is like to think about the way that Chris would thread a field with 8 players and knowing where, or 9 or 10 or however many were still out there, with where the guns were laid, and to see those seams with that many different variables, to me is really impressive, the way that that was happening.
Yeah, and so I think the dynamic moves you're thinking about too is like there would be one dude that could be like potentially watching a lane. So what Chris would do is he'd make that kill, immediately go shoot in 1 or 2 dudes, and like he'd walk off, but so would like 2 or 3 other guys. So it was a, you know, there was every top pro team had a guy that was similar to that, and it was pretty sweet, you know. So
Who's a name from that era that was kind of slept on, that didn't really get the shine or the love, that was one of maybe your favorite players to watch that would make, you know, decisive moves?
John Richardson, he was incredible, like super sleepy, like just like creeper. So like he always pulled out some really sneaky stuff.
I've actually got his player's card from Planet Eclipse right over here. It's one of my favorite cards ever. He's legendary.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, there's probably dozens of them, but that one just is always like, you know, he was my buddy, but also like he never got that like, you know, glory boy Lasoya like recognition that he deserved. So
the pros knew, though. The pros all knew.
Oh yeah. Yeah, pros kind of always know, but some guys just get more press, or they're better in front of the camera or whatever, you know. So
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So Trev, we have a Discord here, and we've got some guests with some questions. There's actually a good question. It's a nice segue from there. And it's actually from Travis. He wants to know, if you could make an infamous roster with any current or former pros, who would it be and why? You could exclude Tyler and myself, so it's not awkward.
Oh my God.
And you can exclude your team too if you want.
Oh man, I have my guys. We're good. No, so
hey, let's go.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, obviously, like I'd like to have some of my old boys back on the squad from back in the day, but the game is different now, so you have to sort of, you know, play the cards you're dealt. So
I know all the OG dogs. If you brought them into the modern era, they would still be eaten. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just understood.
Yeah. Put us back in our 20s.
Yeah, I mean the talent. Even though it's a different era, the talent gap was still so massive between what the top end players were doing, you know, next to the bulk of the league.
Yeah, and I do think that the league, like overall, because of the divisions now, has brought up the level overall. Because now, like, you know, divisional guys are practicing on a really regular basis, and they're taking it just as serious. Like back then, it was only like pro/semi-pro were the only 2 teams, or the 2 groups that were playing like 3 times a week type of thing. So, but now I think you see that with a lot of different divisions.
Yeah. There's been rumor. I mean, Tom said that possibly we're going to be able to get paintball back onto TV at some point this year. I'm thinking AC, Atlantic City, I think is where it's happening at. Is that right?
I don't know. He didn't tell me.
I'm not sure which event, but yeah, I'm pretty certain that ESPN wants to do another one. So
so
and they're lobbying for some other networks as well. So
that's right.
We'll see.
Yeah, Trav. So want to ask you, in regards to paintball, do you think that it will ever be able to break into the mainstream so that people will know that tournament paintballers exist on a much broader scale? If so, what do you think that takes?
Yeah, I mean, I've always believed in our sport, but I do think that you know, and I think this is going around the league and just seeing in the success that like Formula One has had, and some of that like Drive to Survive and the Netflix type thing. I do think that is something it would take to sort of build that story. Like you're all of a sudden you're like, dude, you know, Infamous is my people, that's my team, or you know, I like Impact dudes or whatever. You have to create that connection, and I think that storyline and that format is the right way right now. So
couldn't agree more, man. And we have the most amazing people in the game right now, you know, which is which is all that we need. And I think that as we move into the future, maybe the next 5-10 years, we really, really focus on building out those storylines, building amazing fan bases across the nation, across the world, so that people can fall in love with the game like we had, and they don't have to go and get shot up like we do, but they can enjoy watching it and tag along for the journey.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you follow that Formula One thing, but if you have that app and you can like follow your driver and see what he sees and see the pit and everything, I mean, that is like, it's next level stuff, but that would be
badass.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine being able to tap in, be like, I want to tap into Tyler's gun, watch him on the field, and then you tap into his goggles when he goes into the pit. You hear him talk to his coaches. Obviously, that would all have to be like post-event, but that would be so sick. That'd be so sick. Yeah, lots of bleeps, lots of game plans. It seems like everybody understands that is probably the next best step. If we, so we need to figure out a way to make it happen. Obviously it costs money.
Of course. Yeah.
But these networks like Netflix, Roku, all these streaming platforms, they're really thirsty for sports documentaries and sports content. That's kind of like Netflix has so many different ones, that's like the kind of stuff that they're looking for. So it's all primed for us to capitalize on that.
Yeah. That even like Hard Knocks, right? Like that whole thing.
They can't find a team this year, I heard.
Why? Because they don't want to like give up info or what?
I don't know why. I just read something, and I mean, I haven't fact checked this, but I just read something that Hard Knocks can't find a team to agree to do the season.
Oh, that's disappointing. I love that show. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. It's interesting. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder if it's because like the last few years, I feel like the teams they've done it on, like it's almost a curse.
Yeah,
it's like the Madden cover curse.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, maybe. All right, we got alanfong.com. He also has a good question about the brand. What is your vision for Infamous and Pro DNA in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oof. I just want to win paintball tournaments. No, and I do. We do get we have a massive passion of just creating, some of the best products there is. So I mean, I feel like that's just part of, if you're a person and you fulfills that like sense of, hey, we did something, we built something, and not only the team, but you're building cool products to support the sport you love. So I don't know, just continue to do stuff like that and move it along.
What do you think is currently keeping Infamous from a deep Sunday run?
It's tough. I mean, it's it's partly on the players, partly on the coaches. It's partly, comes all the way through the organization, but I feel like it is only like it's always like a very close thing, right? So if you lose a match by 1 point or the ball bounced one, it didn't break, whatever. So I think Infamous is definitely headed in the right direction. We used to be sort of known as like attack only style team. We've sort of refined that. Now we can play both ways. We can do the slow game if we need to. So being more adaptable has been kind of my focus the last 12 months or whatever. And then, now we're kind of in scramble paintball with the latest kind of layouts. So yeah. So I guess, I think Infamous is pretty close. So we're right there. It's just a matter of just getting to the top of the mountain.
I agree. You guys are always the team that's like just a pain in the ass to play against. It's always a good game. You're always going to bring it. And it's one of those things where like, if this group that you have, this current group gets a taste of winning, then you have the confidence and then it just keeps rolling. That's how it goes. And you got some veterans there that have won and a lot of like really young, hungry talent. So it's a good group for sure.
Yeah. That's definitely the key on any winning team I've ever been on is you have the veterans that like have that leadership skill. And then you have the young, hungry kids that just, don't even know any better. They're just throwing caution to the wind and going for it. Like you have to have that correct mix is what wins. So
100%.
All right. We got Joshua 1776. What does it take at the core of a team to become a pro level team? And then as a player as well.
So say that one more time.
It is
right in the middle there.
What does it take at the core of the team to become a top level pro team, and then also as a player?
Well, okay, two different questions, but yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
as a player, there's a ton of sacrifice, you have to make in terms of being able to put in the time it takes to physically do what the pros do. And then
Mhm.
there's time in general to get your mental the correct way, right? Because sometimes the skill level of an amateur or semi-pro person might be the same as a pro player, but he's just has that much more experience in situations that he knows how to react and
Mhm.
capitalize on the situation.
Most definitely. Yeah. Yeah, you can't rush that process.
Turn my phone off because it's going crazy over here.
Oh, you're all good.
Everyone's,
then,
yo,
yeah.
Trav, we got reservations down at the Hoots. We gotta go, bro. We gotta go.
At the Hoots.
Daytona 500 wings.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, that was such a good time. Honestly, infamous with Todd Martinez was the coach back then. I really cherished that time. It was a wild time, and I did a lot of maturing after those years because I had to. But yeah, that was a fun group.
Yeah.
Any team
good
with
old days.
Lasoya on it is a fun group, dude.
Dude, we had LJ, Chuck Schwartz too.
Oh, hell yeah. It was
we had
going off.
LJ, we had Zach Wake, we had obviously Callie, we had Bobby. Bobby was on the team. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, JR.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
JR,
team was
Nikki.
that was a fun team. Nikki,
Oh, God, Nikki,
oh my
that's
God,
right.
Of course, Nikki. Oh, how the hell did I forget Nikki?
Yeah.
Love
The
Nikki,
legend of
man.
legends.
Yeah.
And I
that
know
was crazy.
Nikki still tunes in, LB tunes in. There's still so many people that are involved in the game that love it. They still love it just like we all do.
Yeah, no, we just played the 10-man a couple weeks ago, and we had a blast. Like, so LB flew in, we played golf all day, and then we went and played paintball the next day. It was sweet. So
There we go.
it's good. The 10-man league is alive and kicking.
Yes, it is.
Oh, for
Yep.
sure. Yeah, that was such a great thing that Tim Montresor kind of really ignited and sparked.
Yeah, God bless him.
Yeah, absolutely. What an amazing thing, because it's brought so many of the OGs back into the game and back into the culture, which is really good for the sport. So yeah, happy to see it. And Infamous has had a ton of 10-man success as well.
We like it. It's fun. They had to make new rules.
That's right.
Did they?
Yeah.
What are the new rules?
Well,
you can only have one.
Pro
like
teams can't have pros.
Oh, that's right, dude. They pulled the Euro move. I think that's so dumb. I think that's so dumb.
I agree.
Oh, that's a bummer. Wait, so what? So you guys don't play now?
No,
How
we
do you
still play. We just have fun. It's just like if you're over 45, you could play.
Okay. What is it? It's okay. You're over 45.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Fair enough. And also some other exciting stuff. I don't know if you listened to the episode. We had Dan Bilzerian on. I know you guys connected and hooked them up with some product. They're very excited about it. Yeah, that's a pretty wild thing.
Yeah, we're super excited because, obviously he's like a big celebrity and all this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, we were more interested in the fact that he's actually not like just, hey, let's sponsor some typical celebrity guy that's not really into the game. Like he literally like he has a field in his backyard. Like he's breathing the sport. So that's the perfect type of person that we want to be involved with. So
he's so all in, dude. It's crazy. Like while we were out at practice, I was on the phone with him for like 45 minutes just talking about the layout and like the depth that he goes into with, how the field should play and like what he already understands. That's what got me too. I was like, okay, this isn't a flash in the pan kind of thing. You're hooked. You're one of us. You're one of us, bro.
Yeah.
You're one of us. So, come on in. We got you.
Exactly.
But he loves it. He loves paintball like through and through. Yeah, he's got the field in his backyard. His girlfriend plays, and they've got a nice little team that they've built. Been able to work with them a little bit. So yeah, no, it's exciting. They'll be out there in Tampa, ready to rock and roll.
I mean, and who knows? I mean, maybe that's the spark we need. Someone with 30 million followers. It's like get paintball in that many more faces. So,
well, he had some good ideas too. Sorry, Ty.
Nope.
Looks like you want to say something, but yeah, real quick. He had some good ideas too. Like he is genuinely interested in building another field and catering to, like the A-list celebrities and, high rollers. And when they come into Vegas, they can go and have like a really prestigious paintball experience. Some of these fields that you go to, it's not really the nicest experience. It's fun and we love them, but it's kind of grungy, like it's not for everybody. So he wants to provide like a really, premier kind of experience. And I think that alone could be like, that's a whole nother market that we don't really cater to, that could be massive as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we'll see, but he's
Totally.
definitely got the bug.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And all the guys go to Vegas with a bunch of money to blow, and they want to go have the experience and have the high end paintball experience. And at the end of the day, like I was talking about earlier with that funnel, we want to make sure that when we funnel people into this game, we give them the best experience possible, from the paint to the marker, the reffing, just the overall experience, so that they want to come back. We got to make sure we're bringing everyone back and keeping them involved. And he really cares about making sure that, I'm pretty sure he's going to do this. He's going to build an experience in Las Vegas to where people can go and have one of the best days of paintball. Instead of going and racing cars or shooting, machine guns, they can go play paintball and shoot the best guns with the best paint.
I mean, I'm in. I'll go play some craps.
I'm sure he's going to have he's probably going to have a bar.
Whole bar, the whole thing. I mean, Travis, it was like a couple years ago when I was coaching my Vegas team, Vegas Golden Misfits, we got kicked out of the field early because they were setting up, and I was like, what are you guys setting up for? And it was a birthday party for Usher. Now Usher's massive, right? And so I stayed and I watched him get everything set up, and I'm like, this is the experience that Usher is gonna have. Like, fuck, he's never playing paintball again. Excuse my language, but I was like, and no offense, like obviously they tried to put together a good experience, but it's just not what those kind of people are used to, right? So like we do need to be able to cater to that if we want to be with the biggest stars and be on the big stage. And, we have to be able to have that kind of stuff. And, I don't know if Usher, went and played, if that was his first time, his last time, if he loved it, didn't, I have no clue, but he did go play. And so if he would have had, an amazing experience, who knows what that could have transpired into, you know what I mean? So like, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a good concept. I mean, hopefully he gets it done. So
yeah,
I think they're building a WNXL team as well. They're gonna have a women's team. Yeah. So
I know.
Be on the lookout for that.
Cora's on that squad. Jessie Mayolo, or I think she has a new last name now. I'm sorry, I don't know, but she did just get married.
Congratulations.
Gosh, I forget the rest of the roster, but it looks like they have a pretty good roster. And Dan's girlfriend's on the team. And she's actually pretty damn good too.
Yeah, so they'll have some vets. That'll be good.
Yeah. And then what do you guys got going on for the rest of the week as you head into the tournament?
So we'll probably take we'll take 1 day rest, and then we'll go back to we'll do some like internal stuff as far as like we've done a lot of different teams and other pro team practice looks, and then we'll probably do some internal, how you have to work out those little kinks and be honest with each other, because a lot of times when you're playing some other team, maybe they're like, oh, did I get bounced? No, you didn't bounce me, dude. You know what I mean? So you can be honest with each other and be like, hey, you're doing this, but if you did this, this would work. So we'll have one of those type of days, and that's it. And then looking forward to our big match.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. And that's
coming up.
That is so important what you're talking about for all those teams out there listening. You're going to be playing against other players that might not give you the best feedback. So you need to set aside time where you have your own players or players that you can legitimately trust, that you can have out there that are going to give you accurate feedback. Otherwise, you could be getting fed, some BS and be headed in the right or the wrong direction.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of misdirection out there for sure.
For sure.
Low and behind.
Low and behind.
Who said that? Who was that?
Everyone.
There's quite a few that are famous for that, but maybe.
No, who's in the kitchen? Who do we got here?
Oh, that's Callie.
Callie, dude. Long time listener and always rocking with us, dude.
First time caller. long time listener.
I know, Callie. You both of you. How come we can never get you guys on? It's crazy. We finally got Travis. We're almost at episode
We are ready
300.
for y'all.
Let's go.
If you want to hear
Unreal.
like some crying babies in the background, I mean, we just had a kid, and you know how it goes.
Oh man,
Oh, part, what
congrats.
are you on? Like your 7th kid now?
Building a 5-man squad.
There we
Nice.
go.
I love it.
Is there?
Yeah,
How you guys
man.
feeling?
Feeling great, man. We
Yeah.
had some really good practice. Everybody's getting along well. The new guys are doing awesome, and ZP's kicking it over here.
Yeah,
got-
Z.
He's got the ice
He's got
boots on
he's
right
got
now.
the moon boots on his legs over there.
Let's get a read on that.
How does
There we go.
ZP stay so shredded? That's the thing. Is the only thing people want to know.
Good question.
CMOS, he'll
Question.
tell you.
Oh yeah,
CMOS.
CMOS. Yeah, I'm sure. CMOS.
That's hilarious.
Nice. All right. Well, Trav, my last question from the Discord, it's going to be from Rye Guy 156 lifting ribs. What pivotal moment or decision what a great name, right? What pivotal moment or decision in your career with Infamous do you believe shaped your approach to the sport and leadership within the community? Was there a pivotal moment?
That's such a big question.
Massive question.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, I think us becoming Infamous, like, I don't, you know, that whole story of like, we just showed up and we spray painted Infamous on a jersey because we just had blank jerseys and we made up the team name.
This was a
and-
movement, though. The stencils were everywhere. You guys had stencils
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I think crossing the like picket lines of being able to play a different league without being banned, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that was probably like our most pivotal moment. And then as far as like being a leader on the team, I just simply felt like if I was to like drop the torch, right, the like Infamous would have died. So I just I felt like I owed it to the group and to the team to keep it going. And you know, like I said, that's kind of how the whole brand thing started.
Yep. Legendary. One of the most successful brands from a team ever created. And, you know, it's all from that. That was breaking news, too, at the time when it was all happening. It was like crazy, crazy times.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah. So,
Well, Trav, we can't thank you enough for taking the time. We hope you and the boys stay safe out there. And we will see you and everybody soon out in Tampa in just a few days.
yep. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
man.
We'll
All right,
see you
bro.
in a couple days. See ya.
Later, bro. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.